तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरते य उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् भाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम् स यथा तत्र आदाह्येत ऐतदात्मविदं सर्वं तत्सत्यं स आत्मा तत्त्वमसि श्वेतकेतो इति तद्धास्य विजज्ञाविते तद्विजज्ञाविते। So last discussion was nanu sadasmiti buddhimatramiha kartavyada chodyate. When the Shruti says tattvamasi, tvam tat asi, you are sat, you are that, meaning you are sat, you are Brahma. When this word Shruti says, then in response Shvetaketa would say sadasmi, I am sat. Teacher says you are sat, the student responds I am sat. Iti buddhimatramiha kartavyada chodyate. You have to understand here, this is not a statement, says natu ajñātam sadasiti jñāpyate. It's not that an unknown sat is made to be known. Not that Shvetaketu does not know who he is and is made to see who he is. That's not so. Shvetaketu is not sat, but he is asked to meditate that I am sat. Asmin pakshepi ashrutam shrutam bhavati ityadi anupannam. But the Shruti said, yena shrutam shrutam bhavati that by hearing which everything is as well heard, by knowing which everything is well known. So what about that? If Shvetaketu is really not Sat or Brahma, then merely by thinking that I am Brahman, meditating, or having that attitude, doesn't make him know everything. He does not know Sat. If he does not know Sat, then he does not know everything. So whole idea is knowing which everything becomes known. So Shvetaketu is told that you have to know something by knowing which everything becomes known. But Shvetaketu will not know if Sadahamasmi is merely meditation. Then the Purva Paksha is na Sadasmiti buddhivide stutyartatvad. Yena ashrutam shrutam bhavati is not a statement of fact. It's not that there is something knowing which everything becomes. It's just a praise. Sat is being praised by saying that by knowing Sat, everything becomes known. It is extolling Sat, not also a statement of fact. So Vedanta takes both of them as statements of fact, Sadasmi and Yena Ashrutam Shrutam Bhavati. He says no, Sadasmi is an injunction to meditate upon myself as Sat, and in praise, this is Arthavada, that by knowing Sat, everything becomes known. That Arthavada is in support of this injunction that you meditate upon yourself as Sat. So this is a possible interpretation of this statement. Says na acharyavan purushaveda. Says no, the Shruti says acharyavan purushaveda. One with acharya acquires knowledge. Tasya tavadeva chiram, that he becomes liberated by this knowledge. He has to wait that long until the body, meaning that the moksha here seems to be described as becoming one with Sat in a primary sense when even the obstacle of the body does not remain. So that seems to be the definition of Sat here, moksha here. So idea is, so this is how that statement is interpreted as moksha. So this knowledge gives you moksha, it's a liberating knowledge, number one. And for that knowledge, you have to go to a special teacher who can remove the obstacles to this knowledge. So this is a knowledge for which there are obstacles. There is a knowledge in which there are no obstacles, and here is knowledge in which there are obstacles. When there are no obstacles, you need a regular teacher. There are obstacles, you need a special teacher who can enable you to become free from the obstacles. Asambhavana, samshaya bhavana, viparita bhavana. Yadi sadasmiti buddhimatram kartavyada vidhiyate. If this is merely a statement that may you meditate upon yourself as Sat, then Nuttam Shuddhavachasya Sadrupattvameva Vidhiyate. That this statement does not mean that you are Brahman, but meditate upon yourself as Brahman. If this was the case, tada na acharyavan vedeti jnana upaya upadesha vachasya. Then there is no need to say that, hey, you go to a special teacher to understand what I am saying. That would not be that. So Acharya is presented as Jnana Upaya. Acharya in this case is Upaya, is a special means for knowledge. And is told that for this knowledge you require a special teacher. Yatha Agnihotram Juhoyaditi eva mahadishu artha pravyam acharya vattvameti. So, when you are told Agnihotram Juhoyat, may you perform Agnihotra karma, then that statement creates knowledge. You do not require a special teacher to understand what it means. Simple instruction. Similarly, if this was an instruction, may you meditate upon yourself as Sat, then he understands what I am being told. He doesn't have any doubt about that. Doesn't have viparita bhavana. He understands wrongly. That he requires a special teacher who can remove doubts and viparya. Therefore, inasmuch as this knowledge is to be gained from a special teacher who can remove the obstacles, it is not a knowledge about instruction, it is knowledge about the truth of one's own self. Tasya tavadev vidicha kshepakaranam na yuktam syat. That this knowledge will take place after the fall of the body. You have to wait until the drop of this body for this knowledge to be primarily settled in identity. So, atha sampatsye, then he becomes identical to Sat. So this knowledge has a kshepakaranam, some delay. That's another obstacle. So asambhavana, samshaya bhavana, viparita bhavana are the obstacles. Plus, this body also is an obstacle. That's how it is looked upon here. And so, and then, after removal of the obstacle, one becomes liberated. So you have to wait for that obstacle in the form of body to go in order for you to have the fruits of this knowledge. So fruit of the knowledge is moksha. Whatever the fruit of the knowledge, in this case, from what we say, tattvamasi, if it is in the primary sense, then the fruit of the knowledge is becoming one with Sat, becoming limitless, becoming free, moksha. So if tattvamasi is to be taken in a literal sense that you are Brahman, then the result of this knowledge is moksha. And for that result to take place, some obstacle is there in terms of a delay of the nature of the existence of this body. So that obstacle also has to go for this knowledge or for moksha, the result of knowledge to come. See, even if knowledge has come that I am Brahman, the result of knowledge, namely moksha, comes only after a delay. So that pratibandhaka has to go for the fruit to come. So for the knowledge to take place, pratibandhakas are asambhavana, samshaya bhavana, viparita bhavana. Those obstacles have to go for the knowledge to take place, for which you require a special teacher, Brahma Vidya teacher. For the result to come, there is an obstacle in the form of the continuation of this body because of prarabdha, and that obstacle should go for the result to happen. Now in case of this injunction, that you meditate upon yourself as Brahman, or perform Agnihotra, the ritual, the knowledge of the statement takes place without any obstacle because there is nothing, there cannot be any doubt that I am told to do this. This is asambhavana, viparita bhavana, it cannot be. Therefore, this knowledge to take place does not require a special acharya. The result of all knowledge also takes place. Result of that injunction also takes place in performance of the activity. So what is the result of that injunction? Perform the activity. So that also takes place right away. There is no delay. Here is a knowledge which there is a delay for the result. Here is a knowledge in which there are obstacles which need to be removed. And here is knowledge for which the result comes after a delay. Whereas you are meditate upon yourself as Brahman or injunction of any kind, the knowledge also takes place right away. And the result would be the performance of that implementation of that instruction. So that also would take place. So these two reasons are cited by Bhashyakara to say that this is not a statement of injunction, it is a statement revealing the nature of realities. Vedanta addresses the nature of realities, that's all. Like science addresses itself to discovering the nature of what is. So also Vedanta is dedicated to discovering or knowing the nature of what is. For science there is curiosity to know what is. That even if you do not know what the world is, should not matter much. Except that here you want to enhance your quality of life, etc. Therefore science helps you in enhancing quality of life. But you can continue to live without knowing law of gravity, without knowing anything, and so you can, without knowing relativity, etc. But here, not knowing that I am Brahman creates a basic problem in life. That you find yourself a limited being and therefore you are a miserable creature. So ignorance of this reality that I am Brahman creates all the misery in life. Therefore this is an essential knowledge. That is a desirable knowledge of science. But this is an essential knowledge. Without that knowledge of science, you can live life. Maybe the quality will not be that good. Maybe there is no dialysis, so you may die early. There is no chemotherapy, so you may die early. Okay. There are no elevators, so you have to climb up the stairs. You understand? That science greatly enhances the quality of life. There is no question about it. So it is desirable. Because you desire to live long and you desire to live comfortably. But this is essential. So drashtavya, jnatavya. So the 8th chapter also will say, vijijñāsitavya. This knowledge has to be gained. Without that, atha satyamasti, nachedi havedit, mahati vinashtihi. If you are, as long as in the body, this human body, yached avedit, atha satyamasti, then life gains fulfillment. Otherwise, there is a great calamity. And so, therefore, this is a different kind of knowledge. That's what Bhashyakara says. Sadatmatatve avijñādepi sakrit buddhimatra karane moksha prasangat. Did he understand what the instruction is? And he goes ahead and then does, then I am Brahman. And if that vritti takes place that I am Brahman, then he gets liberated. That vritti takes place, I am Brahman, then that is the result of that instruction. And so the fruit of that knowledge would come also right away. Whatever that moksha is, but that moksha would be gained by maintaining that vritti. But here there is a delay. So acharya is required for knowledge to take place, and delay is involved for the result of the knowledge to happen. Then Bhashyaka said, Nacha tattvamasi yukte. Further. So this was a nice question asked by Anandagiri. Kinche vidivadina pratiyamana, in the line 15 page 292, pratiyamane arthe vakyasya apramanyam viparyasa lakshanam anutpatti lakshana vachyam. So what is your problem? Why do you hesitate in accepting this literal meaning that you are Brahman? What is your problem? Why do you think that this statement does not reveal the nature of Tvam, that it reveals an injunction? Why? Vidivadina. Who is Vidivadi? One who is bent upon interpreting this statement as a Vidhi and not a statement of the Siddha Vastu. There can be two problems. Why you think that this is not a statement of real fact, it is an injunction, there can be two reasons. So, Vakyasya apramanyam viparyasa lakshanam anutpatti lakshanam vachyam. He says this vakya is not a pramanam if it merely reveals the nature of tvam. Because viparyasa lakshanam, it tells you something that you are not. So Shvetaketu is a jiva. And Shvetaketu is said to have Brahman is viparyasa. That means that if this was a statement of fact, then it creates knowledge which is contrary to what is. Therefore it is not pramanam. So Vidivadi says that Tattvamasi, that you are Brahman, is not pramanam because it says something which is contrary to the reality. That Shvetaketu is a jiva and he is told you are Brahman, and if he says thinks he is Brahman, it's a Brahma, it's a viparita jnanam and not a true knowledge. Therefore this statement is not pramanam. Or so that could be the reason why you want to interpret this statement as vidhi. That could be one of your reasons. So we are probing into his reasons. Why is he insisting like this? It is also important. Why does the person say what the person says? That also we should understand. Then only we can address him properly. If the need is to refute, you can refute only when you understand where the person is coming from. Or if you want to educate, in this case, Bhashyaka is educating people. That's how we look upon. We do not say that he is dismissing and he is vanquishing. He is educating. So even if you want to educate a person who is committing a mistake, you should know what mistake he is committing. Where is the fault in his thinking? So for this person to interpret the statement as a vidhi, he must be thinking that this is not pramanam. It's not pramanam in as much as if you look upon that as a revealing the nature of reality, it is not pramanam. Because it says something contrary to what is. Or anutpatti lakshanam apramanyam vachyam. This state is not pramanam because nobody can realize I am Brahman. Therefore also, so what is pramanam? Pramakaranam pramanam. A pramanam should necessarily create prama or valid knowledge. Even if Shvetaketu is Brahman, but then if Brahman is not knowable, then also this vakya does not create prama or knowledge, so it is not pramanam. So when a vakya creates viparita jnanam, it is not pramanam. When a vakya does not create jnanam, then also it is not pramanam. The fact that you do not look upon Tattvamasi, the pramana vakyam, means that this one of these two reasons must be there in your mind. That is, which is why you want to interpret the statement as a vidhi. Tadubhayam durvacham says, no, in case of Tattvamasi, none of this applies. So Bhashyakara said, nacha Tattvamasi ityukte naham sadidi pramana vakya janita buddhi nivartayitum shakya na utpanna iti va shakyam vaktum. Tattvamasi ityukte, when teacher says Tattvamasi, you are Tat, you are Brahman when he is told, then he says naham sat, So you tell him that you are Sat and he says, so in him arises naham sat. So he knows himself. How does he know? Naham sat. Idi pramana vakya janita buddhi nivartayitum na shakya. See, pramana vakya janita buddhi. Buddhi or the knowledge, janita, born of pramana vakya, this valid statement tattvamasi. What is that buddhi? Sat aham, sad asmi, aham brahmasmi. So this statement should create the knowledge in Shvetaketu that I am Sat. When it's told you are Sat, it creates in him the knowledge, I am Sat. I am Brahman. So that now, no utpanna, so nivartayitum shakya. Then his inside says, I am not Sat, I am not Sat. This is wrong. So when the knowledge takes place in him that I am Brahman, does he know it as wrong knowledge? That I am not Sat. Is it possible for that vritti, I am not Sat, to dismiss this knowledge? The thing is, when you are told that Sarvam Khalvidam Brahman, this is all Brahman, but then you see this duality. Is it possible that perception of duality can invalidate the knowledge that everything is Brahman? So now you have Pratyaksha Pramanam and you have Shastra Pramanam. What is Shastra Pramanam? Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. All that there is Brahman. What is your Pratyaksha Pramanam? This is Jagat is different from me. I am not Brahman. Can this knowledge born of Pratyaksha Pramanam, I am not Brahman or I am different from Jagat, is it capable of dismissing this knowledge, everything is Brahman? No. Once the knowledge takes place that I am Brahman, everything is Brahman, then that thought, I am not Brahman, I am Jiva, is not powerful enough to dismiss this. Because that is false knowledge. That I am Jiva, I am not Brahman, I am not Sat. That vritti is being a false knowledge, is not capable of dismissing this knowledge that I am Brahman. Sri Dhanagiri, Tattvamasi iti adhikaranam prati ukte sati pramana bhutena tena vakyena janita sad brahmaham iti ya tasya buddhi tam nivardayitum nam saditi balavati buddhi utpannayati na shakyate vaktum. So Tattvamasi iti adhikaranam prati ukte sati. It is true that when Tattvamasi is being told to an adhikari, to a prepared student who has the sadhana chatushraya sampatti, who has antahakarana shuddhi. See, antahakarana shuddhi means his mind does not throw unnecessary obstacles, that's all. When the mind is sattvic or pure, then that mind has no objection in accepting that I am Brahman. If mind is impure, it is tainted by likes and dislikes, then mind itself, I can't be Brahman. So even when he is told you are Brahman, his mind doesn't accept it. How can I be Brahman? I cannot be Brahman. Meaning that his mind does not have the right orientation for this statement to reveal its meaning. Any statement can reveal its meaning in a mind which is prepared, which is right samskaras. If right samskaras are not there, then a statement may not create knowledge. It is not because the statement is not valid, but because the mind of the listener doesn't have the right orientation to see the meaning of that statement. So it is true, adhikarim prati ukte sati. When this is being told to an adhikari, so whose mind is favorable to him. And so, atmaiva bandhu atmanah, when the mind is favorable to him, then the mind concurs as, yes, I am Brahman. Pramana bhutena tena vakyena janita sad brahmaham iti ya tasya buddhi. This is pramana bhutena vakyana. Tattvamasi is pramana bhutam vakyam, meaning that it is a means of knowledge, which creates the right knowledge. So janita, because that vakya creates in Shvetaketu the buddhi of the knowledge, Sat Brahmaham asmi. I am Sat, I am Brahman. Itya tasya buddhi. So that knowledge that is generated now in Shvetaketu that I am Sat, I am Brahman. Then, is it possible that Naham Saditi, now in him can arise another buddhi, Naham Sat. Iti balavati buddhi. that when this buddhi or the knowledge has taken place, I am Sat or Brahma, is it possible that in Shvetaketu another buddhi arises now, I am not Sat, I am not Brahma, and that dismisses that knowledge I am Brahman? Is it possible for this buddhi anymore to arise that I am not Brahman? Na shakyate vaktum, no. Formally that is the buddhi. Before this instruction, his buddhi or his knowledge about himself was, I am not Sat, I am not Brahman, I am Jiva. But after this knowledge takes place, I am Brahman. Is it possible that former false knowledge can now overpower this true knowledge? No. False knowledge cannot overpower true knowledge. Anyway, it is called Satyam Satyameva Jayate, meaning that true knowledge will always overpower the false knowledge. It is true that habitually that may arise, I am Deha, I am Deha. Then he needs to assert I am Brahman, which process is called Nididhyasanam, in order to eliminate the habitual error that I am not Sat. But which will eliminate what? That buddhi I am not Sat, will it dismiss I am Sat that, or I am Sat will dismiss I am not Sat? So Dehuham was a buddhi earlier, Brahmaham is buddhi now. Which will dismiss what? It is not possible that Dehoham iti buddhi will overpower Brahmaham iti buddhi. Cannot. Why? Vivekavatah Shrutavakyasya tatha buddhi anutpadat. Vivekavatah, one who is able to do viveka, discriminate between self and non-self, druk and drushya. Because of lack of viveka, because of the inability to distinguish between self and non-self, therefore, he entertained this notion that I am a limited being, I am a mortal being, I am a jiva. So this conclusion on his part was because of the inability to separate the self and non-self. But Vivekavatah, one who is able to separate now the druk from drushya, Shrutavakyasya, and one who is now listened to the Vakya, Tattvamasi. If he has not heard this Vakya, then that you are the 10th man, he may think about it. So Viveka is that the 9 are there. And then he says, you are the 10th one, you see. So he is told, you are the 10th man, having counted the 9 there. Then now he will not look at them anymore. You are 10th, he will look at himself. So when this knowledge takes place, I am the 10th man, the earlier false notion, I am not 10th man, will it overpower? This will not overpower. Because it is reality, his own self. If it is about something else, then it is possible, that the false knowledge can overpower the true knowledge. Because it is about something other than you. But this is your own self, and you can see yourself as Brahman. What is meant by the knowledge that I am Vritti, that I am Brahman, is to see yourself as Brahman. Without any doubt. To be Brahman, to see yourself as Brahman, without any doubt. So when that knowledge without doubt or error has taken place, is it possible for the false knowledge that I am not Brahman, I am body, is it possible for it to overcome this? Is no. Tatha veda buddhi anutpadat. Naham sat iti buddhe anutpadat. That buddhi, I am not sat, cannot now stand before this. It cannot be generated. Once he is settled with this knowledge, I am Brahman, it is not possible that I am not Brahman, that buddhi can even arise. Because he is Vivekavatah, he is possessed of Viveka, Shrutavakyasya, this Vakya is heard, and Vakya is now created in the knowledge. So you cannot say that this is false knowledge, or this statement creates, can be falsified. Cannot be falsified. Na utpanna iti va shakyam vaktam. Although even when Shvetakaru is told that you are Brahman, that no, Shvetakaru cannot know himself as Brahman because Brahman is unknowable. Suppose it is something that is unknowable, then even when you say, if it is not knowable, you will not know it. Brahman is very much knowable because it is myself. Even though Brahman is not the object of sense perception, it cannot be objectified by the mind, it doesn't have to be because it is Swaprakasham, self-effulgent, my own self. So, na utpannayati va shakyam na vaktum na shakyam. That is, knowledge will not take place. You cannot say that. Says Anandagiri, nacha adhikarina shrutavakyasya sad brahmahamiti buddhi na utpannayati vaktum shakyam. Who? Adhikarina. Again, shrutavakyasya. His adhikari means a prepared student. Shrutavakya means what? One who has listened to this vakya from a competent teacher. Sad brahmaham, that buddhi cannot, that I am Brahman, that knowledge, buddhi will not take place. You cannot say that will not take place. You cannot say that. Adhikarina pramidhi janako veda heti nyayat. The rule is Veda pramidhi janaka. Veda is a pramanam, therefore must necessarily create the knowledge. Adhikarina. For an adhikari, it should create the knowledge because Veda is called pramana. But how about my practical experience that I am different, the world is different? So this Bheda Pratyaya is there. Says Anandagiri, nacha Bheda Pratyaya yasoktayaha buddhe bhadakaha. So now the wise person functions in the world of duality. So will the perception of duality again dismiss the drashti? The Dvaita Pratiti is there. Can Dvaita Pratiti dismiss Advaita drashti? No. Is it possible that when I look at my reflection in the mirror, that now it can create in me a Dvaita Buddhi? No. Yesterday we talked about this thing, what is it? This Grivastham Evaidam Mukhamiti. So Kamalaji reminded me of that joke, Swami. You see, this man is traveling in a train. He goes to a bathroom. Oh, there is somebody there, he comes out, Goes to bathroom again, somebody is there, he comes out. So this kind of Brahma is possible. That one does not recognize oneself. Then he has to be told, this is you. Oh, Grivastham Mukham. So, okay, that was the obstacle. That is the viparita, the obstacle. But here, when you know that now your face then when you now look at yourself in mirror, will it create any confusion now that he is somebody else? When you did not know your own face, then there was a problem. That Akhandanandji, I told you once, was describing in his book. This man used to live in Africa, someplace in a remote place, where there was no mirror. Then he came to London as a laborer or as a whatever. And London, of course, is all British people and they're all mirror. And then he knew then what mirror is. And he also started keeping a mirror because he liked to look at his own face. And he collected some money, became a little wealthy and went back to his country. So his wife was unpacking and then she saw this. Oh, this man is keeping somebody's photo here. A woman's picture he is keeping. Oh, then this started, So this is how confusion can be created. And so, ultimately they are separated, because she thought that he is, he's keeping somebody's picture there. But then, it is possible because of ignorance. But once knowledge takes place that this is I, then that false knowledge cannot come back again. So, Bheda Pratyaya. Nacha Bheda Pratyaya yathoktaya buddhe bhadakaha. That now you experience the duality, what we call perceptual duality. That cannot be bhadaka, that cannot be an obstacle to this knowledge that that everything is Brahman. Tasya swapna bheda pratyavat mithya to anumanat ityartha. Now I know that just because I see something in front of me does not mean that it has to be different from me. So far, I always took for granted that whatever I perceive is different from me. So the waking world is different from me. But then when the teacher taught me that, look, in the dream also you were thinking like that. So when you were dreaming, experiencing dream world, then also you thought that the world I am experiencing is different from me. But when you woke up, you realize that the dream world was not separate from you. You were one without a second. Similarly, so here also you think that this world is outside of you, is separate from you. But that sense of separatedness is like dream, is mithya. And so, that knowledge is there, mithyatvam. And therefore, this mithya duality cannot displace the true non-duality. Mithya cannot displace the satyam. False knowledge cannot displace the true knowledge, and mithya cannot displace satyam. So, no utpanna iti va shakyam vaktum. You can't say that this buddhi does not arise. Why is it so? Itascha tatmasi vakyam vastu parameva. Itascha. For this further reason also, Anandagiri says, Tattvamasi, that vakya is vastu param. It reveals the nature of vastu, and not that it enjoins something. So Vashraka is, Sarva Upanishad Vakyanam Tat Parata Eva Upakshayat. Sarva Upanishad Vakyanam. All Vakyas of all, Sarva Upanishad Vakyanam, of all Upanishad, all Vakya of all the Upanishads. They have only one Tatparya. What is it? Tat Parataya Eva Upakshayat. Tat Parata. Aikya Parata. Jiva Brahma Aikya Param Vakyam. All the Upanishads, they exhaust themselves in only revealing one truth. And what is it? You are Brahman. Revealing the non-duality of Jiva and Brahma is the only Tatparya, only purport of all the Upanishads and all the Vakyas. Some people sometimes say that, look, this Vakya says that Jiva is different and Brahma is different. And that Vakya says that Jiva and Brahma are one. This Vakya says Jiva is a part of Brahman, etc. So some people say that different Vakyas say different things. So thought is evolving and ultimately they realize that Atma is Brahman. In the beginning they thought that Atma is different from Brahman, and then ultimately, so they see that whole thought progression in different Upanishads. There are ancient Upanishads, then less ancient Upanishads, and recent Upanishads. You can see that thought development. That's a historical approach. But we don't accept that. Sarvopanishad Vakyanam. It is a matter of you have to arrive at the Tatparya of the Upanishad. Not take a statement in an isolated sense and then interpret it, but you must interpret a statement in the total context and arrive at the Tatparya by Shadlinga, Upakrama, Upasamhara. So when you apply that Shadlinga for Tatparya Nischaya, for ascertainment of what the purport is, then you find that all the Upanishads have only one subject matter, which is Brahman. Which is what? Ekameva Dvityam, one without a second. Which means that Brahman alone is the true nature of Jiva. All Upanishads say that. Upanishads would not have said if knowledge could not take place. Why should Upanishad go to such a great length to reveal this in different ways had knowledge not taken place? Siddhanagiri, Tattvamasi Vakyat na ayathartha buddhi napi na bhavati eva buddhi iti. So this conclusion. Tattvamasi Vakyat, by the statement Tattvamasi na ayathartha buddhi. Not that a wrong knowledge takes place. This Vakya does not generate wrong knowledge. Napi na bhavati, or it does not create knowledge. It is not so. Etamartham drishtantinaha. For that the drishtanta is told. So yatha agnihotradi vidijanita agnihotradi kartavyata buddhinam atatharthatvam anutpannatvam va na shakyate vaktum tadvat. Just as agnihotradi vidijanita. Agnihotram juhuyat, that's a vidhi. May you perform, may one perform agnihotra karma, yaga. Then, what happens? Yesterday we discussed this. So when you are told, hey, perform agnihotra karma, then in the listener, this buddhi arises, I should perform agnihotra karma. Because this instruction is coming from a source, which is an authentic source, which is a trustworthy source, and it's a source which is my well-wisher. So if this Shraddha is there, that the source is trustworthy, it knows what it is talking about, it is trustworthy, and it is my well-wisher. In case of karma, that also is required. That when Veda says, perform this ritual, it is for my well-being. Because performing ritual involves exertion, which I would not want to undertake unless there was benefit from that. But since Veda says that, so I know that Veda is like my mother. Says, what is in the best interest of me? So kartavyata buddhi, that I should perform agnihotra karma, that buddhi is generated in me when I am told, perform agnihotra. Now, you can't say that that's a wrong buddhi. It's a right buddhi. Or that the buddhi will not, so he keeps on telling you even then that this kartavyata buddhi does not arise in you also is not so. If you are an adhikari. So if this statement is told to a person who is mature, who is Shraddha, then definitely kartavyata buddhi will take place. It is true. When somebody says do this, depends on who says that. But if the person who says that towards that person we have reverence, and we know the person says out of kindness and not out of any other agenda, then my heart will respond that yes, I should do that. So just as in case of Agni, that Vidhi Vakya generates a knowledge and right knowledge, so also Tattvamasi Vakya generates a knowledge and right knowledge. Says the other Tika, we saw this, Nacha Siddhe Vedanta Pramanyam Shad Vidai Lingai Gati Samanyesa Tatreva Tatpari Nishayat. So, you cannot say Vedanta is not Pramanam Siddhe Vishaya. Means, in the Vedanta is not Pramanam for revealing reality of life, because Shad Vidai Lingai. When you analyze these statements of Vedanta with the help of Shad Vidlinga, then realize that Tatparya is in Siddha Vastu, in what is existing, Brahman, which is the reality. Upasita, Janiyat, ityadi upasanaha. When it says upasita, Janiyat, then this is injunction about upasana. Drashtavyah vijanahi ityade jnanatvena apurushatantrasya. But Atma var drashtavyah. So, that is the state that you must know Atma. Atma, so vijanehi, may you know the self. Jnanatvena apurushatantrasya. So karma is purushatantram, jnanam is vastutantram. Aviditvasya bahuda uktatvat. You say that about jnanam there cannot be vidhi. So vidhi meaning injunction, do this, can be there provided you have freedom to do that. So where Purusha Tantratvam is there, then only vidhi has a scope. Where Purusha Tantratvam is not there, vidhi does not have a scope. So may you know this object as a part, you cannot. Even if somebody says, may you know this object as a part, I cannot, because how to know this object is determined by the object and not by me. So aviditvasya. So this is Vedantic position that knowledge cannot be enjoined because it is Vastutantra. So this Viditchaya, Drashtavya etc. is not a Vidhi but Viditchaya. Sometimes they take it Viditchaya, sometimes they take it Vidhi, whatever. Bahuda Uktatva, we said earlier, number of times. Pratibandhyabhi prayanaha. Yatha Agnihotradi. What is Pratibandhi? The argument that applies to me also equally applies to you. So if you apply the argument to me that Tattvamasi will not create knowledge and will create wrong knowledge, then that should apply to Agnihotram Juhyat. Then, if it applies there, it will apply here. Purvapaksha Vijam Yattuk. Now, the Vashyakara proceeds further. So another thing was stated by Purvapakshi. That was on page 289. In the 7th line, Yadi sadeva shvetiketu syat katham atman na vijaniyat. One of the arguments, what is shvetiketu is actually sat. Then how would he not know himself as sat? Because everybody knows himself. Yena tasmai tattvamasi upadishyate. The fact that Shvetaka is told that you are Brahman means he is not Brahman. Had he been Brahman, he would have known that I am Brahman. Then why should he be told that you are Brahman? If I am Brahman is a fact, doesn't have to be told. I have a head over my shoulder. It's a reality. Yeah, I don't have to be told you have a head over your shoulder. I know it. So I know what I am. Therefore, had I been Brahman, I would have known that I am Brahman. The fact that Shvetaka is told you are Brahman means that he is not Brahman. He is told to meditate himself as Brahman. So the argument was that self is always known, and if self was Brahman, why would Shvetaka not have known himself as Brahman? How can it be that Shvetaka is Brahman and still he does not know himself as Brahman? How can it be? So that was the argument. Bhashyakara now takes up that one finally in the second paragraph, page 293. So says Anandaki, Jive bhasamanepi anobhasamanatvat na swabhav brahmaiti uktam anudya dushayati. Jive bhasamanepi, that I am Jiva, that is bhasamanam, that is something that is known to me. Abhasamanatvat, I am Brahman, it doesn't shine. So what shines right now is I am Jiva, but I am Brahman, that doesn't shine. Isha sarveshu bhuteshu godotmana prakashate. Atma does not shine as Brahman. Therefore, na swabhava Brahma. So argument was the Purvapakshi, if Shvetiketu is Brahman, then Brahman should shine as itself. And so, if Brahman is Svabhava, it should reveal, the self should reveal. If self's nature of self was Brahman, then self should reveal itself as Brahman. But the self is revealing itself as Jiva. Therefore, Brahman cannot be the nature of Atma. Iti anudya dushayati. Reiterating this, Bhashyakara shows a dosha in that. Yattu uktam. Bhashyakara says, Yattu uktam sadatma san na atmanam katham na janiyat iti. See, this sandhi is confusing because na can be there and na need not be there. Therefore, so there is no na there. Yattu sat atma san, sadatma san. If Shvetiketu is sadatma, meaning Shvetiketu's knowledge, nature is sat. nature of self is Sat, then Katham na atmanam, katham na janiyad, then how come he would not know himself as Sat? Why? So Bhashyakara says, Nasau dosha. This dosha defect does not arise in this case. Says the Tika in the line, 24, Atmana karyakarana vyatirittatve sati api yatha tanna pratiyate tatha sadatmatam shastropadeshamandra na pratiyate edi kaimutika nyayana dushayati. So Bhashyakara gives there an example. All right, Atma does not shine as Brahman. Okay. But do you know that Atma is different from Karyakarana Sanghata? Mimamsakas at least accept that much. Atma is different from Karyakarana Sanghata. They take Atma as Karta Bhokta, but different from body, mind, etc. So you know that Atma is different from body, mind, sense complex, and still one doesn't know that. Atma does not shine as different from Karyakarana Sanghata. So similarly, Atma can be Sat and may not shine as Sat. So, if Atma, meaning that Atma does not shine in its true nature. Even if we take it as different from Karyakarana Sanghata, that also doesn't shine. Then it's quite proper that it may not shine as Sat. So, Kim Vaktavyam? If Atma does not shine as different from Karyakarana Sanghata, it's much easier. What to talk of that Atma not shining as Sat, because Sat is much subtler. So Atma not shining as Sat, what to talk of that when Atma does not even shine as different from Karyakarana Sanghata? Iti dushayati nasav dosha. So dosha that you are pointing out does not exist here. Then says Anandagiri, lokayata atiriktanam dehad atirekah jivasya svabhavikopi na avabhasate. Lokayata atiriktanam. This lokayata say that deha is Atma. Other than that, nobody says deha is Atma. The Nayayikas do not say that, Mimamsakas do not say that, Sankhya's do not say that. Other than Charvakas, nobody says that deha is Atma. Everybody says that Atma is different from Deha. That everybody says. So, lokayat atiriktanam, dehad atirekaha, jivasya svabhavikopi. Everybody accept that Jiva's nature is different from the body. That is the svabhava. Svabhava of the Atma is being different from body. Na avabhasate, but nobody knows it as such that I am not the body. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramiti abhidiyate. He has to be told that you are not the body. Tatha brahma bhavapi tasya anadi anirvachya ajnana samarthadeva namabhasishyate. So for whatever reason, Atma, even though it is different from the body, does not shine itself as such. So also, Atma is Brahman. But this anirvachya, with ajnanam, anadi, anirvachya ajnanam, ignorance which is beginningless and which cannot be defined as such and such because of the strength of ignorance, samarthyat, because of the strength of that ignorance, Atma does not shine as Sat. So, it is nature of Atma not to shine as it is. Even if you look upon Atma as different from body, then also it doesn't shine that way. So, if Atma is Sat, it's quite understandable, it would not shine as such. Tathacha, tasmin bhasamanepi anabhasamanatvat na sva brahmeti ayuktam vyapti abhavat. Therefore to say that, just because Atma does not shine as Brahman, that it shines as Jiva, therefore it is Jiva, and does not shine as Brahman, so is not Brahman. You cannot say that because Atma is different from the body and it doesn't shine as different from body. So it seems to be the nature of Atma not to shine as it is because of ignorance. So ignorance which depresses this knowledge that Atma is different from body. Same ignorance also can depress the knowledge that Atma is Brahman. Vyapti abhavat. Because you don't have any vyapti, that Atma shines as such. Other than these lokayatikas, there is no vyapti that Atma shines as it is. So Karya Bhashyakara says, Karya karna sanghata vyatiriktoham jiva karta bhokta ityapi स्वभावतः प्राणिनां विज्ञान अदर्शनात् किमु तस्य सदात्म विज्ञानम. This confusing vakyas here, but anyway, कार्य करण संघात व्यतिरिक्तोहम जीवः, that I am jiva different from कार्य करण संघात. This is what the Mimamsakas accept. Therefore he is being, this argument against Mimamsakas. So Mimamsakas accept the Atma as Karya Karana Sanghata Vyatirikta. Because you perform the Agnihotra karma here, and you experience result in heaven. Now this Karya Karana Sanghata is not there in heaven, and still you are there. So one who is Karta right now becomes a Bhokta. So Atma has to be different from Karya Karana Sanghata. Then only the one who is performing karma today can experience the result in Swarga, where this Karikana Sanghata is not. So, therefore, Karikana Sanghata, the Drishtanta, Karikana Sanghata Vyatiriktoham Jivaha, Karta Bhokta iti, that I am just Karta Bhokta, different from Karikana Sanghata, iti, Swabhavataha, Prayana Vijnana Adarsanat. Swabhavataha. So what is Swabhavataha? Says here, Shastropadesham antarena ityartha. Unless it is told, unless it is pointed out, nobody knows that I am different from Karikana Sanghata. I am just a Karta and Bhokta. Nobody knows. If he takes himself with body, and then whatever goes by, identification of the body. Swabhavataha prayana vijnana adarsanat. That vijnanam, that I am Karta Bhokta, different from Karikana Sanghata, that knowledge we do not see in pranis. Kimu tasya sadatma vijnanam. So, adarsanat. Then what to talk of the prani? Not knowing that I am Sat. If he does not know that I am Karta Bhokta, different from Karikana Sanghata, then what do you think? What to talk of his not knowing that I am Sat? So Drishtanta, that you are in the same position. If you say that because Atma does not shine as Brahman, so is not Brahman, then we say that Atma does not shine even as Karta Bhokta or different from Karikana Sanghata. So you can't say Atma is different from Karikana Sanghata. So there is no Vyapti. You want to point out what is Vyapti? Atma is what it shines to be. And Atma does not shine as Brahman, so is not Brahman. If that rule you want to apply, then you can't say that Atma is Karta Bhokta, different from Karikana Sanghata. Same thing applies there. Okay, so then Anandagiri says, Nanu, on the previous page, Nanu, Deha Vyatirikta Atmavadyanam Atmani Bhati Deha Vyatiriktobi Bhate Vedi Vyapti Siddhi. He says, no. Vyapti Siddhi. Deha Vyatirikta Atmavadyanam. For Mimamsakas and others who say that Atma is different from Deha. Atmani Bhati. Deha Vyatiriktobi Bhati eva. Vyatireka, it should be not Vyatirikta. I think it should be Vyatireka. Vyatireka means difference. Atmani Bhati. When Atma shines, the difference that Atma is different from body also shines. We say that when Atma shines, then also shines the fact that Atma is different from Deha, body. So, Vyapti Siddhi, therefore, Vyapti Siddhi. that Atma is what it shines to be. Iti ashankyaha bhashyakara katham iti. Next page. Katham evam vyatirikta vijnane sati tesham kartrutvadi vijnanam sambhavati drishyate cha. Evam vyatirikta vijnane sati. Suppose a person is born with this knowledge that I am different from karyakana sanghata, then how can he even take himself as karta? Because kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam are the nature of the upadhi. If he knows himself as different from karyakana sanghata, then he cannot take himself as karta, bhokta also. See, the Tikakar explains, karyakana sanghata vyatirikta jnanam nasti tarkim pramanam. Ita ashankya. He asks us, what is the pramanam on your part, Vedanta, in that one is not born with this knowledge that I am different from karyakana sanghata? Says, gacchami, tisthami, sthuloham, ityadi, dehadharma, samadhikaranyena, jnanam nasyat. If he knows that I am different from body, then he would not say that I am fat and I am lean. See, if I am born with the knowledge that I am different from body, then I would not superimpose the dharma of the body upon myself. And I would not say the sthuloham, I am fat, I am lean, gaccham, I am going, I am standing. These are all the attributes of body. If I was born with the knowledge that I am different from body, then I would not enter in these notions. So that's why Bhashyakara says, katham evam vyatirikta vijnana sati. If this vyatirikta vijnanam, that I am different from body, then kartrutvadi, then I am karta, I am bhokta, which are notions born of identification with the body, they would not be. So, tika, gacchami iti, gaman kartrutvadi jnana. When I say gacchami, you may not declare that I am karta, but when you say I am going, automatically you are declaring that I am the agent of the act of going. Is it not so? I am talking, meaning that I am a talker. I am going means I am a goer. I am eating means I am an eater. So talker is a karta, goer is a karta, eater is a karta. And so you are saying, when you say you are a eater, which means that the identification with the faculty of eating. When you say I am a speaker, it reveals identification with the organ of speech. When you say I am going, there is an identification with the legs. When I am acting, that reveals the identification with the hands or arms. So if you are born with a knowledge that I am different from this body-mind complex, then you could not be simultaneously saying that I am going and I am fat, etc. This shows that there is an identification that you do not know that you are different from body when you say that I am fat. You do not know that I am different from body. So if you are born with that knowledge of difference, you would not have been saying it. The fact that you are saying means you are not born with that knowledge. Adi Shabdas, Sthuloham ityadi sangraha kartrutvadi means what? Sthuloham, krushoham, I am fat, I am lean. All of this shows that you do not know that you are different from body. You are taking the body to be yourself. So this sthuloham, krushoham would not be possible. But drishyate, but we find people declaring, I am fat, I am lean, means that they do not know that the self is different from body. If he doesn't know self different body, then it's quite proper that he doesn't know that his self is different from Karikana Sanghata and is a Brahman. So rule that applies there also applies here. Siddhanagiri Dehadi Sanghatat Atiriktohami Devam Vyatirikta Vijnana Sadi Katham Tesham Kartratvadi Vijnanam Sambhavati. That I am Dehadi Sanghata Atiriktoham. If that knowledge, he was born with that Swabhavata, then how can I say I am Gacchami, I am Tishtami, I am Sthuloham, Krushoham, those notions, how can they be there? Nahi Sanghata Abhimana Vigame Tad Yujyate. So unless the Abhimanam goes, then only he will not say I am Sthula, Krusha, etc. But when he says I am Sthulaha, Sthuloham, it shows that Abhimanam. No, who says I am fat? Nobody says I am fat. Nobody says I am going. Says nata drishyamana drishyate cha. Everybody says I am fat, I am lean, I am going, I am eating. Shows that they take the karika and sangata as a self. They do not have the knowledge of that vyatiriktvatvam, the distinction they do not know. So how a person is born with ignorance of the distinction, so also a person can be born with ignorance that I am Brahman. So siddhe dushtande, dashtantikam also that is presented as dushtanta. What is dashtantikam? Tadvat Bhashyakara says, Tadvat tasyapi dehadishu atmabuddhitvat nasyat sadatma vijnanam. Tadvat, like that. Dehadishu atmabuddhitvat. Because atma buddhi in dehadishu, in body etc., he looks upon body etc. as self, therefore he does not know he is himself is different from the body. So similarly also, because of the identification of the body, he doesn't know himself as Sat. So just as because of the identification of the body, he doesn't know that is different from Karika and Sanghata. Similarly, because of the identity of the body, he does not know himself as Sat. So same rule applies here. So dosha that you're finding out does not exist in our position. Says again, Anandagiri explaining that Dehat Vyatiriktasya Satopi Apratibhanavat Sadatmakasyapi Shvedaketoho Dehadishu Atmabhimanitvad Sadatmani Brahmani Vijnanam Nasyat. Same thing. Dehat Vyatiriktasya Satopi. Even though Shvetaketu is different, according to Mimamsaka, even though Shvetaketu is different from body, etc., Apratibhanavat, but he doesn't know that I am different from body. Similarly, Shvetaketu Dehadishu, why? Dehadishu Atma Abhimanitvad, because Shvetaketu, like anybody else, is born with the Deha Abhimana, identification of the body, taking body to be the self, therefore he does not know that it is different from body. Similarly, because of the same Abhimanam with the body, he does not know that I am Sat. Brahmani Vijnanam Nasyat. Ataha Tatsvabhavasyapi Brahmabhavasya Apratibhanam Ajnanakritam. So just as because of ignorance, he does not know that I am different from body, by the same token, because of ignorance, he does not know that I am Sat. Vakyasya Arthantarparatva Asambhave. So this Vakya Tattvamasi cannot Arthantaram. Different arthas are examined and we determine that it is not possible to interpret this statement in any way other than what we are interpreting. It cannot be Vidhi Vakya. It cannot be Stuti Vakya. It cannot be Upasana Vakya. It cannot be a Vakya which generates wrong knowledge. It cannot be Vakya that does not generate knowledge. All the possibilities are analyzed about this Vakya. And none of that is possible. Therefore, Tattvamasi should have the meaning that we have stated. So, Vakyasya Arthantarparatva Asambhave. When it is impossible that this Vakya can be interpreted in any other way, Phalitam Upasamharati, Bhashyakara concludes what the Phalitam, what the outcome is, Tasmad. So Bhashyakara says, Tasmad Vikara Anruta Adhikrita Jivatma Vijnana Nivartakam Eva Idam Vakyam Tattvamasi Iti Siddhamiti. It is Siddham. Tasmad, therefore, Vikara, Amrita, Adhikrita, Jivatma Vijnanam. A person is born with Vijnanam. What's the Vijnanam? Jivatma Vijnanam. I am a Jiva. Therefore, Adhikrita, I am an Adhikari. For what? For performance of variety of actions, etc. Which is arising. So that is how I know myself. So Vikara Anurata. That is the nature of the self, which is vikari. Anuta means false. So, that I am born with this notion that I am the self which is vikari, changing, which is of course anuta means false. And that creates in me this notion of adhikaritvam, that I should do this, I should not do that. Or how can that adesha be? Oh, revered sir, how can it be that by knowing one thing you know everything? Then he became adhikari for what? Shrota, manta, vijnata. Then his father said, hey, this is how the adesha is. Yatha somya, ekena mrutpindena vijnate, sarvam mrunme vijnatam syat. He becomes adhikari. Until then he was not adhikari for upadesha. Become adhikari for upadesha. Now he knows himself as Shrota, Manta, Vijnata. So I am adhikari. That sense of adhikaritvam, that I am so and so, comes because of identification with the anatma, which is what? Vikari, Anruta. And so Atma is all confused, poor thing. And therefore, so Nivartakam, this notion that I am adhikari, Nivartakam, to eliminate, dispel that notion, is Vakyam Tattvamasi. That is the purpose of this Vakya. Removal of ignorance. Tattvamasi does not reveal Atma. This Vakya, even though it is Pramanam, not like an ordinary Pramanam where it illumines the object. Here Tattvamasi words do not illumine the Atma. They simply remove the ignorance about Atma, because Atma is already self-illumined. So vritti vyapti is there, phala vyapti is not there in technical terms. So that is what this Vakya is meant for. Iti siddhamiti. This Vakya is explained by Anandagiri. Mahavakyasya uktaya udaya, uktaya vidaya. By the manner in which we have explained this sentence, how other possibilities are not there. Arthanta paratva sambhavat. Because this Vakya cannot be interpreted in any manner other than what we have said, that it is a statement revealing the truth about the self. The self is Brahman, and that is the reality about self, and this statement simply reveals that, nothing more than that. There something happens to these fellows. In accepting that Jiva is Brahman, that I am Brahman, there is a lot of problem. It's blasphemy. You are actually insulting God by saying that you are God. Can you create this universe? Are you omniscient, omnipotent? Without understanding what is the tatparya of this statement. We are not saying that I am God at the level of upadhi. I am not saying that. Yes, God is creator, sustainer, dissolver, omniscient, omnipotent, and I am everywhere limited. I don't say that I am omniscient, omnipotent, but I don't have to be. That's not my complex, that I must be omniscient to be happy. I am one with Brahman by simplifying myself, not by complicating myself. So human being is complicating himself by trying to become omniscient, omnipotent, etc. And then, it's a wrong game. Vedanta, simplify yourself, drop this. And see yourself a simple consciousness, devoid of all attributes. Give up all visheshas. Don't increase, don't accumulate. That simple nirvishesh Atma you are. And understand that knowledge is enough. You don't need anything else. You will discover a total satisfaction by knowing yourself as a simple, by taking yourself as a complex person, you are a miserable person. Therefore simplify the life. Simplify the thinking. So that the simple knowledge that I am just simple, innocent consciousness I am. It is innocent, simple, pure. And Bhakta is well loving. So become innocent, simple, pure, loving. You have to. For you to know this. So adhikaritvam is that. What is adhikaritvam? We must become like Atma. We must become like Brahman. That's where the values come. So that's where the sadhana comes. That we have become very complex. Unfortunately, because of ignorance and wrong thinking, become very complex. Simplify. Simplification is in mind. Doesn't mean that you stop wearing clothes, etc. That's not the point. If you want to do that, you may do that, but that is not necessarily required. But simplification, non-demanding, of course, that should be the way of life. So the mind also becomes simple. Then this knowledge is enough. If it's not enough, then you look for other interpretations. What will happen? Suppose you know Brahman, so what will happen? You won't go to Swarga, you won't be happy. What's the use of knowing what you already are? What does it do? He says it does everything. So this is where the problem comes. Mimamsaka, so what's the big deal about knowing what is? What does it do? That you have two legs, so what? So that you have two, your heart, what does it do to you? Siddha Vastu, knowledge of what is doesn't do anything to you. So knowledge of what you should do will do something to you. This is their firm conviction. Vedanta, therefore they say that amnayasya kriyarthatvat, that Veda must necessarily create in you the kartavya buddhi. That is the role of Veda. That's the pramanyam of Veda is in creating kartavya buddhi. This is no. There are also vakyas that reveal the siddha vastu, and that's enough. So get off from your this conclusion and now expand your view. This is what Bhashyakara is saying. That now start thinking out of box thinking. There's a box, Mimamsaka's thing. Out of box thinking. This is Vedantin. This is like relative is out of box thinking. So that I am Brahman Prapta is an out of box thinking. Mind boggling. And there was so much effort required to convince people. Arthanta paratva asambhavat. So vikara, anuruta, adhikrita, jivatma vijnanam. Stanagiri explains that compound. Vikare. See, adhikrita he says abhisandhikrita. That's very beautiful. Adhikrita abhisandhi. Vikare anuruta abhisandhikritoyam. That Anuruta abhisandhi. I am all the time maintaining the thought that I am a vikari. That's anuruta. So vikari is anuruta. What is vikara is false, is mithya, is wrong, is not atma, is not reality. Reality is nirvikara. But I take vikara or vikari to be the reality. So then whatever I take to be reality is what my mind will always think about. So that thought is always contained. What is it? Vikari aham, vikari aham, vikari. I may not declare it. I may not specifically think like that. But all my thoughts and desires and behavior, everything only reveals that my constant thought is, I am a vikari, anuta abhisandhi. And that's what is misery, that's what creates misery. Therefore, abhisandhi kritoyam ayam jivatma iti evam rupyat mithya jnanam. That this is jivatma or I am jivatma, aham jivatma iti evam mithya jnanam. Not I am jivatma, aham jivatma, I am jivatma. That mithya jnanam comes from the wrong abhisandhi, from the wrong perception, the wrong drashti. Tasya sanidanasya nivartakameva. That anuruta abhisandhi has to be removed, sanidanam, along with its cause, which is ignorance. So anuruta abhisandhi, that I am a jiva, is abhisandhi, comes from ignorance of the true nature of myself. So not only this upadesha, I remove that anuruta abhisandhi along with this sanidan, along with the ignorance, which is the cause. Eva idam tattvamasi. That's all the tattvamasi vakya does. Natu abhuta pradurbhava phalam. It does not generate a result which is not there. Anuta pradurbhava means abhuta pradurbhava, becoming manifest of what is not manifest, So what is not, abhuta means what is not before. Pradurbhava, manifestation of what is not before. So tattvamasi does not bring to manifestation what is not before. It does not create Atma to be Brahma. It only reveals Atma, which is already Brahman. It manifests what is and does not bring to manifest, does not create a change. So when it comes to meditation, it is to change. So reason why they say that this Vakya is meant for meditation, that hey, you are not Jiva, become Brahma. And you will become Brahma by all that meditation. I am Brahman, I am Brahman. So they look upon that as the process of becoming. This is their conviction. That will become. Vedanta, no becoming. It is merely manifestation of what is. So this Vakya brings to manifestation what is and not creates what is not. Not abhuta pradurbhava phalamiti evam jiva brahmano aikyam sarvopanishad sarabhutam sthitam. Therefore, sarvopanishad sarabhutam. The essence of all the Upanishads is what? Jiva brahmano aikyam. The identity of Jiva and Brahma. That is all that Upanishad has in mind. Nothing else. Everything else is just stories. Anything else is all story, means drashtanta, avantara vakya, all creating context. And the story is told depending upon who is listening. So different people are told different stories and different prakriyas, etc. All are prakriyas. Only thing is tattva, jiva brahmano aikyam. Whatever vakya is used also. Tattvamasi may not be vakya, but jiva brahmano aikyam, the identity of jiva and Brahma is all that Upanishad. So sarva Upanishad sarabhutam, which is sarabhutam, the very essence of all the Upanishads. Sitam. Mahito Upanishad kathitartha nidhe, So Upanishad kathitartha is what? Jiva Brahmaikya. Viditakila Shastra Sudha Jaladhe. So all Shastra Sudha Samudra is only this, And so, Am Brahmasmi. That's all this Vakya does. It is Siddham. So, Bhashyakara had to do this. Number one, because this Vakya is interpreted differently by different people. The people who existed at that time. Tasmintam, etc. was not there at that time. That argument came later, so the footnotes also came later. At the time of Bhashyakara, Mimamsakas were there. Bauddhas were there. So that Shunyavad was addressed earlier. And so, what is it? Asadeva idam agrasit ekamaya taddahu. Shunyavadins were there and Mimamsakas. These are the two strongest people were there. Both of them did not accept Ishvara. Both of them did not accept Atma as Brahman. So his fight is against these two people. So fighting within his own self, understand. Mimamsakas are our own people. Very great Vedikas. So what are reforming? So see, we always accept the criticism. Don't worry about what somebody says. PK, FK, what does it say? Come and go. What is true will prevail anyway. Of course we are afraid that people who are immature will be all misguided. That is true. But in this time of free expression, you can't help it. All that we can do is to make our voice stronger, that's all. We have to discover means of communicating to youngsters what is true. We cannot break open stuff because they said something. That is not democracy. Nobody will accept it. So when you break open theaters and burn things, you will not be in the good books of the people who count. You and I say this is to be done, but you don't count. This Maharaj, that Maharaj, they don't count. Let them say whatever they say. Unfortunately or whatever. What counts is they. And so we have to create a mechanism by which you become as effective communicators as they are. That's the solution. Not simply lamenting and this and that. You can lament, that's okay, nothing wrong in it. But ultimately, so Bhashyakara had to take them on at the same platform in which they were. Then only you can convince them. So this reforming is always required. We cannot say that Hinduism does not require reforming. It does require. And we always accepted it. We are not like those fellows who say that this was 1500 years ago, what was said applies today. It is idiotic. It's like going back into time. Hinduism was never like this. Always a progressive religion. Always progressive. But still there are always elements that are holding on to things for whatever reason, because that's what they believe, because they have some vested interest. So there were power forces always arisen. Shankaracharya is a very powerful force. What a great reformation. He may still sound orthodox from our standpoint of view because it was a time when he lived. So, there are always restrictions of the times when you live. But what he has done is just, just most marvelous. So, more remains to be done. So do it. Don't blame him that he did not do things. Nobody can do everything. And nobody can predict all the change. Even Mahatma Gandhi did order, but still, you continue his work. That work of Swachh Bharata will continue for the whole hundreds of years. Because it is nature of Aswachhata to come. It is our nature. Entropy will always grow. Disorder will always come. And therefore, you always have to strive to create the order. That's the thing. And therefore, this Jiva Brahmano Aikyam Saropane Sarabhutam Sthitam Ityartha. So this is how Bhashyakara takes upon the prevailing views, which are very important views because this is how people are oriented. So that's why what an amount of effort you have to make successfully. Not that he drove out anybody or anything like that, but there's no point to stand here. When people accept Vedas, then people who reject Vedas cannot stand. You don't have to throw them out. It's not thrown out. People are transformed, that's all. So people who were so-called Buddha, they were transformed. Nothing is thrown out. Except that this teaching is so powerful because teaching based on reality. He could bring back the reverence for Vedas, the Shraddha for the Vedas in people. And so it was not difficult for people to reject those views that were based on rejecting Vedas. Because that was an emotional reaction. All these are reactions and they have something to contribute. But at the same time, there is something which is an emotional reaction. That part we have to dismantle. So Buddha has a lot of to contribute. Mahavira, a lot of contribution. At the same time, they have their own emotions. Like the other acharyas contributed a great deal. But they had their own emotions because of which they could not swallow something. They could not accept something. Our Swami used to say that, look, Buddha was the king. See, always an agenda of self-promotion, something like that, So the need to dismiss what existed, etc. Whatever. So, doesn't matter. The point is that there is something good and something which must be, which need not be accepted. Don't dismiss the whole thing. Don't dismiss whole Buddha. Don't dismiss all of them completely. Vedanta never did. They did not dismiss Mimamsakas completely, only that part which is misguiding. So they accepted from Mimamsa, from Sankhya, from Nyaya, from everybody. And remove those elements which are not applicable. So learn from everybody. From Islam or Christianity, if you want to. Don't dismiss the whole thing. That's what we go to other extreme and dismiss the whole thing. That's not so. There are elements everywhere, including Hinduism. We have to open. I'm not saying there are not, but we always have to be open. What did Dayananda Saraswati? He dismissed lots of things. When he must have come, he dismissed all Puranas, all this, all, Murti Puja. That's the greatest dismissal. But we accepted it. We absorbed him also. So what are these fellows? As I said, provided we are clear about ourselves and then, so we have our own mechanism of prachara, where we continue to, communicate what the scriptures have to say. Or as the other tika said, vikara anurtam cha yat kartrutvam bhoktrutvam cha. So vikara anurta adhikrata. What is vikara? Anutam cha. It is vikara as well as anutam. What is it? Kartrutvam bhoktrutvam cha. And kartrutva as well as bhoktrutva. Tayo adhikrata yo jivatma who looks of himself karta bhokta tasya adhikrutatva jnanam kartrutva bhoktrutva jnanam tad nivartakam. That is another way of looking at it. That Shveta could think that I am a karta, bhokta, which arises from taking the vikara and anuta as the atma, and to dispel that the ignorance is the purpose of this Mahavakya. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. See, by the way, about this movie, this PK, what is the movie? PK. So that this person comes from a different planet, apparently. And he has lost his remote, looks like. So he goes to different devatas, please give me my remote, please help me so that I get back my remote. So he goes to the temples, goes to this devata, that devata, other devata, and nobody says, all devatas are useless. Goes to mosque, goes to church, all these are useless. What are they doing? They cannot get my remote. So that's how the religions are dismissed. So this fellow says, wait a minute. You go to Tata and say, please give me a job. So forget it, get out. You go to Birla, you go to Reliance, give me a job, give me a job. They don't give you a job, so they're all wrong. So just because you have to be qualified. To get the job, you must be qualified. Then they will give you a job. So also for a devata to give a remote back, you become qualified. You must become bhakta, you must have antahkarana shuddhi, then from pure heart that should come, and then see whether it works or not. So this is how it is. But people can't even think that it's such a silly thing. I have not seen that movie, but I saw a little video where this was shown. That this is what the movie says, that he lost his remote. He went to different devatas, could not find his remote, so he ridiculed all the devatas, so he is ridiculing everything. On what ground? On a ridiculous ground. That just because you ask, you insist that your demand should be satisfied. Who do you think they are? And who do you think you are? That your demand should be. You ask your mother will not give you what you want, let alone a devata. You know, my mother did not give me a candy if I was sick. Doesn't mean that is wrong. So what I am saying is that this is how you should bring out things. If this is so, and do the prachara. Write letters, write articles, do things. And these magazines will accept your article if it comes at a certain level. So for your article is printed in a given newspaper, it must be of that level. If they don't, then you can take them to task. So fight at that level. But anyway, so this is how, it just occurred to me to communicate, share this with you. With this, by the way, we have completed the 6th chapter of the Chhandogya, and from Monday we'll go to the 7th chapter. We should have thought about it. So from Monday we'll start the 7th chapter, the dialogue between Narada and Sanat Kumar and Narada. Okay. रहेगा विषय 48.
मनो बुद्ध्यहङ्कार चित्तानि नाहं न च श्रोत्रजिह्वे न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योमभूमिर्न तेजो न वायुः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायुः न वा सप्तधातुर्न वा पञ्चकोशः न वा पाणिपादं न चोपस्थपायुः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे द्वेषरागौ न मे लोभमोहौ मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्यभावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थं न वेदा न यज्ञः अहं भोजनं नैव भोज्यं न भोक्ता चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे मृत्युशङ्का न मे जातिभेदः पिता नैव मे नैव माता न जन्म न बन्धुर्न मित्रं गुरुर्नैव शिष्यः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपः विभुर्व्याप्य सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणां सदा मे समत्वं न मुक्तिर्न बन्धः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं 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 शिवोऽहं